Hello, hello. Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about it may not be your fault, but it's a part of your journey. So I do these YouTube lives every Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys are interested, please come join the live. And if you're watching this on a rerun, I appreciate it. And leave a comment below. Maybe share it to some of your friends if you find this video helpful. But let's get started. Let's get right into the first recap episode that I like to talk about, which is on fear and hurt imprison the heart. Okay, and the slide is on resentment, bitterness, and revenge. So, holding on to bitterness, resentment, and seeking revenge clouds your mental factory, right? It clouds your mental factory. It basically acts as this kind of blind spot. It makes you miss all these other things that's important because, you know, when you wake up every single morning, there's only so much mental bandwidth that you have. So how much do you want it to waste, especially waste it on things that's usually doing you no good and more harm? So be careful what you pour into your mental factory because that is what is going to come out of it. Okay, so this will clog up your mental space, and it starts playing this story in your mind, kind of like this whole life is unfair, this is unfair type of situation, and it kind of works like clockwork, right? So you may start to analyze all the little tiny things that you dislike about somebody. You ever notice it's funny how things work, right? It's funny how whenever somebody talks about one person and you're like, oh my God, absolutely. Oh, this person's a piece of POS. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to like this person. You never even met this person yet. But of course, maybe you got it from a source, whether it's your good friend or whatever. I'll be on time, but I'm always fine. No, I actually just started not too long ago. So what's up, Tracy? Good seeing you. But yeah, you're on time. Anyways, you start playing this thing where it's like you never even met this person and yet you're already judging them before you even met this person, right? That's crazy, right? So anyways, you may start to analyze all the little things about, you're not liking this person without ever meeting them, right? And then you may start to analyze that and you start ruminating on a fence that kind of basically snowballs you into like, you know what? You forget that you might also be the problem yourself. Like, be careful what you consume and be careful what you believe in. So those are all the things that you want to protect, right? Within yourself. Now, if you're not comfortable believing in yourself, where do you start? Well, it starts from doing things. The more you do, the more competent you become, especially in that area of your life, right? And I'll get more into that in the later episodes. But anyways, you become your own prisoner in your own mind, unable to let go. Is this too loud? Yeah. Unable to let go and overwhelm you with emotions, right? So you find yourself constantly talking about it. Say, for example, oh, I might not be good enough, or just because fear and hurt imprison the heart. You're unwilling to take the necessary steps to even take the action because you're like, what's the point? Every time I did it, we only end up failing anyway. So what's the point of doing this? Well, if you ever have those questions or doubt, just do it anyways. What's the worst thing that could happen? That you fail and you try again? Okay. And then you might get humiliated. Okay, fine. I'll take that if that means that my life will become that much better. So getting stuck in the past, and that will become your story. I know a lot of people, all they do is talk about the past. And every now and then they talk about like things that's not important in the present. Like, I mean, I find myself really, kind of talking about it too, but just things that it's not really that important. Now, not to say that what's happening isn't important. I'm just saying it's not as important. Like, here's an example. When bad things happen to good people, I get it. Things suck. But what can you do about it? Honestly, what can you do? So watching the news ain't gonna do you any good, because it's just anxiety building. That's just all it does. It just ramps you up throughout the day, builds a lot of anxiety. So then you live your life scared. I mean, my mom, all she ever talks about was like, ooh, I want to take the bus. I'm like, all right, mom, if you don't want to take the bus, you hear all these things happening, then, just stay home. She's like, but I need to go out. I was like, all right, then maybe go out at a certain time, right? And now she's a lot better at it. She's figured out certain things. But away from soul to here. Oh, I see what you did there. So, anyways, be careful with the story that you consistently tell yourself, because that's what you're gonna start believing in, right? So getting stuck in the past. Hatred doesn't serve you any good, and it's only a gatekeeper for future relationships. Hatred, hating on the other person. If you really loved yourself, it means that, let's just say you got out of a relationship, but the relationship that you were once in, just accept that you made a mistake, and you know what, you learn from it, and things could not have happened any other way. And I believe that anyone that comes into my life, or anything, right, comes in my life, it serves a purpose, and it's not meant to be there forever. And if it stays there a little bit longer, be grateful. But if it doesn't stay, well, it's a gift. It's a gift to you, and you should use that as a learning experience, and just enjoy life. Because most people, they don't get to enjoy life. All they do is complain about a lot of things, and that's not something that me personally, I'm not trying to be around too much, right? So you might be able to fool a person into liking you, right? Oh wait, no, I skipped some. You project how you are on the outside to how you genuinely feel about yourself on the inside. So this is a problem, especially in today's world, where a lot of people, especially women, they mistaken the man's confidence for the actual insecurities, because it comes off as, damn, this person's really confident. He walked up to me. He was very blunt. He was very outright. He spoke what he wanted. Basically, he wanted to, go out with you. So he got your number. You felt wanted. You felt important at the time. And it's nice. Confidence being one of the most attractive things on a guy. For a woman, you might mistaken that as some sort of insecurities that he actually has, because it comes off as, damn, he's actually really confident, but in reality, he's really not. And then it takes a lot of time. It takes time to judge a person by the character. So, and it usually takes about 90 days to see someone's habits. So pace yourself, give yourself some time, right? So you might be able to fool someone into liking you, but it wouldn't last very long, right? So think of it as something that's attainable but not very sustainable. But what I like, but as I mentioned before, what happens when the excitement kind of goes down, right? When the enthusiasm kind of goes down, when your relationship becomes a little less uneventful. How would you manage the storm? How well do you communicate under pressure? Things like that. And me personally, I like to be around someone that has good character. Meaning that, let's just say I'm with her. She has good character. It means that, let's just say we have an argument and we're quote unquote not together right now. We're on this break, or, she needs, or I need some time off, or whatever it is. I still wouldn't want her to go out and, talk to other guys just because she wants to avoid how she feels. You know what I mean? So, and I know some people like that, oh, I'm not in a relationship right now, so guess what? I could start doing X, Y, and Z. But until I have more time, or until we go back, we get back together, well, guess what? That's when I will stop being so, what's that word? Promiscuous? Is that the word? Yeah. So, yeah, I know some people like that. That's not the type of people for me. It's not the type of person for me. So yeah, judge a person by the character too as well. Now let's talk about discovering how you got to where you are at today. Discovering how you got to where you're at today. So like I said, it might not be your fault, but it is a part of your journey. So how do you get here, right? While the conflict may not be your fault, it is your responsibility to be a part of that solution. You may have to be vulnerable. You may have to share some of your worries, some of your fears, and you may have to change your behavior and expectations. And here's why. This is what happens when people are in an argument. Usually blame is involved. Blame is about who caused that situation. Remember back in is it primary school, elementary school? Oh, he started it or she started it first, right? Blame is about who caused the situation. Responsibility is about who's on the hook for the solution. So let me repeat that again. Blame is about who caused the situation. Responsibility is about who is on the hook for the solution. So if you're trying to work things out together, how are we going to solve this together? Who's on the hook? Now, if you don't participate in the solution, it most likely won't get solved. Usually nothing really gets solved if one person's like, nah, it's all you. You got to figure it out. It's your fault. That's blame, right? So despite the problem being the other person's fault, if they're willing to confront you in a civil manner, if they're kind of cool about it, kind of calm about it, communicate and they talk, your feelings are valid and their feelings are valid. Both feelings are valid, right? And no feeling is like, oh, I have it worse than you, so you should really listen to me. It's like, no matter how big or small, despite the magnitude, feelings are feelings, and it's always valid because we're human. Unless you don't want to be around a human, then don't be with one. You know what I mean? So, how can you expect someone to listen to your problems if they don't listen to yours, and vice versa, right? So you gotta be able to learn how to communicate a little bit better. One of the worst things that you can do is disregard the other person's feeling or intent, because if you have to remember that men and women, they communicate differently. Women tend to communicate through feelings, and feelings might not make a lot of sense logically. So when a guy listens to it, guess what? He's gonna be like, that doesn't make any damn sense. Well, part of your job as a dude is to read between the lines and try to understand why she's saying the things she's saying. Like, oh, so when you say this, do you actually mean this? And then ask her if you're not sure, right? Instead of just assuming. Because we communicate differently. And also, women, ladies, try to understand your guy. Understand that he's not speaking through feelings. He's speaking through logic. So what makes sense to him? And that's how you can when you understand each other, guess where the relationship goes? It flourishes. Right? So, now, since men and women communicate differently, and hear me out, this has nothing to do with being soft, especially if you're a dude. It has nothing to do with being soft, nothing to being weak, right? But it has a lot to do with being vulnerable. And vulnerable is a superpower. Being weak is not. Being weak means that you already submitted, you already kind of gave up. I'm not going to be any better. But being vulnerable means that you're aware that you're not where you are to where you want to be at today. But it also means that it gives you the opportunity to become better, to become more than you are. So, for the guys, there's a way of sharing this without coming across too sensitive or too weak. And hear me out. Because when you're saying things, what you're trying to convey is that you're saying this coming from a place of strength, also known as you're not gonna take their shit, but also means that you're not gonna lose your shit neither. So here's an example, right? So say maybe your wife, your girlfriend says something to you or does something that you're not really happy about. Maybe she's disrespectful. Maybe she's saying something. Maybe she's yelling in front of you, at you in front of your friends, or even in private. It doesn't matter. What you could communicate is, it's not, and hear me out. This is what I wrote down. It's not very loving whenever I try to talk to you. You talk all over me, right? I'm pretty sure we all know someone that does that. It's not very loving. It's not very loving whenever I try to talk to you. You talk all over me. It's disrespectful, and I'm not going to be someone's punching bag. So if you want to talk to me, we're going to talk in a very civil manner. But if you need some time alone to kind of cool off a little bit, I'm totally okay with that too. But I'm not going to be someone's punching bag. So I'm going to head out. And that's it. And you're calm about it. You're respectful about it, and you're not yelling back, right? You're not going to feel that fire. So, all right. Slide number 2. And this is a great thing, right? Slide number 2 talks about self-discovery or self-healing is not linear. It's not linear. And in fact, it's going to feel kind of rocky. It's going to go up and down, right? It's going to feel kind of rocky. There were days, especially for me, where I felt like nothing's changed. I'm like, damn, did everything just not change? Is everything the same as where it once was? Or maybe I just hit a wall. I plateaued, and this is it. Like, this is as good as it gets, right? Because our mind is not meant to thrive. It's meant to survive. So it's kind of telling me, like, you know what, Mitchell, as long as you're alive, you're cool, right? As long as you're alive, you're cool. So there are days where I'm like, God damn, is this it? Is this all it could be? Especially if you're sitting there by yourself, and that's what you constantly tell yourself sometimes. It could get pretty scary, you know what I mean? But personally, this is how I overcome it. Personally, I fell in love with the whole process. I enjoy learning, and I enjoy figuring out why people do the things that they do. So, like, for example, whenever I'm on TikTok, and then I get some of these boys, these kids, or maybe adults, I don't know. Okay, I don't really check the profile, but then they come up and they say something like, "Oh man, that's a beta male," or "Oh, like that's a simp." You know, no wonder you probably get cheated on. I'm like, I get where they're coming from. They probably got cheated on, or they probably just heard about it and don't have any life experience, and so they're saying things to trigger a response. But I'm like, dude, I already know that most people that are in good, happy relationships, whether it's with themselves or in actual relationships, they wouldn't be saying things like that. They will actually know what is going on. It's crazy. So sometimes I'm like, dude, I feel bad for you, you know, like, and I'm not here to try to change your mind. You know, there's plenty of other people to listen to. You don't have to listen to me, right? I'm only one of 8 billion people. Go listen to somebody else. I don't care. I don't mind. Like, you don't have to listen to my advice. But if you do want to, at least be open about it. Be open to it. So now, anyways, going back to the whole things being rocky, right? The goal is to get a little bit better every day. And some days I feel like I haven't gotten any better, and sometimes I feel like I've gotten worse. Or I felt like, I'm like, damn, I'm regressing right now. Like, what's going on? So you'll have good days, you have some bad days, and some are worse. And that's okay, because self-discovery, self-healing is not linear. Tapped accidentally, my bad. Oh, it's okay. But big butts, and big butt. All right, if you believe that you will become better, you will eventually, right? You just have to be patient about it, and your mind will thank your body later, basically, right? You just, because none of this matters if all this is not there, okay? But also, it works the other way around. If you got no health, if you're not taking care of yourself, all the positive manifestation, meditation, and all that, how much is that really gonna help you? So it works synergistically. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't take care of your mind without taking care of your body physically. And you just can't take care of your body physically and have a shitty ass mind. Like, and guess what happens? Something beautiful happens when both of these work synergistically. You call it your soul, right? Whatever you want to call it. A spirit, your spirit, right? Energy, if you will. It works in this way where I can't even describe it. It's like, you know yourself better than anybody else. And then you only allow people to come in to your life that is even worthy of your time, because you understand yourself both mentally and physically. So now you have something greater to offer to other people. And when you don't have that, you can't expect that from another person. But when you do have it, you learn to protect what is important to you, which is your energy, right? That's when your mind and your body actually communicates with each other, and it's in alignment, right? So that's the best way, at least for now. That's how I could explain it, okay? Until I get better. See, this is what I'm talking about. I love the process. So eventually I'm gonna understand it. And when I do understand it a little bit better, well, guess what? Mitchell's gonna hop on this mic and let y'all know. All right. So you have to believe that you're gonna get better. So don't rush that process. And here's the great thing about self-discovery, self-healing. You have your entire life. You have your entire life to get better. There's no destination, okay? There's no one goal, or once I get here, right? And if you're going at it like, there are some people that's kind of skeptical. And if you're going at it like, oh, I heard this may help, but not necessarily believe in it, well, your road to self-discovery or self-healing is going to be very challenging. It's not going to be something that's going to be easy, because your mind's not even open to it, right? Because you're already having opposing thoughts versus a more collaborative type of mindset, a collaborative thought. So, like I said, the goal is not to constantly feel better 100% of the time. The goal is more about when you do feel a little bit down, you come back a little bit higher each time. And over time, the less desirable feelings, or aka the negative feelings, or feelings of being frustrated, sad, and stuff like that, for example, it starts to decrease, and then you don't dip down as hard or as often. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense, because I feel like a lot of people that talk about self-help and all this, they kind of come across as a type of person like, oh, you're not gonna have any bad days. Like, oh hell no, I'm gonna have some shitty ass days. And I know it, but I just know that, you know what, it's gonna be a little bit better. And you know why? Because you're actually, and I'm talking to myself, and the reason why is because you've been working on yourself, and you know how to get better. You understand your emotions a little bit more. When you're mad, you don't just stay mad. You explain to yourself, why are you mad? Oh, I'm mad because the situation did not go the way I wanted. Well, how can you remove yourself from being mad? Well, first, I need to cool off a little bit first. Let me cool down a little bit. And I tell myself, and there are days too where I'm like, I cool off and I try to get back into it, and my mind is just not there. I'm like, okay, maybe I just need a little bit more time. And that's okay, right? And there are days where I'm kind of like, things that used to happen that will piss me off, I'm kind of like, yeah, that gotta let that go. So I get back into my center much quicker. And when that happens, guess what? People around me, they're much more happier. They're much more like, damn, Mitchell's like, he seems like he's always having a good day. It's like, well, I had a bad day today, which happened maybe about 10 minutes ago, which probably would have taken up my whole entire day if I would have continued to spend time on it. But now it goes away in like 5 to 10 minutes. Right? So, yeah, the same goes with happiness too as well. Happiness, the goal isn't to be happy all the time, 100% of the time, but it's to be happy most of the time. right? When more challenging time comes, you're certain that things will get better and a lot quicker. So I have two more slides. All right. Which is, you must participate in your own healing, right? You must be an active participant in this journey for yourself. You have to be. There's nobody else could do it for you. Maybe they could help assist you when you have questions, but you have to be an active participant. So you can't depend on other things or other people to do it for you. And I know a lot of people that keep thinking that, oh, this person can help me. Like, oh, meaning, here's an example. I'm kind of lonely right now. So if I have a girlfriend or I have a boyfriend or whatever it is, then I'll be happy. Or when I have this much money in my bank account, then I'll be happy. And they put a lot of their happiness on things that becomes like a moving target, right? That's what happens when happiness does not come from within. It comes from another person or another thing or some sort of status or whatever, right? Oh, once I get X amount of followers, then I'll be happy, right? Now happiness now becomes this moving target, and then you will never be satisfied, because what happens when you finally catch it? Okay, it doesn't stick around long enough for you to maintain that happiness. And you have to understand that happiness comes from within, not from without, right? And you're not going to be happy all the time. But then once it keeps fluctuating, you're like, damn, I could never be happy. And guess what? You're going to start telling yourself you're just never going to be really happy. And sometimes you are, and most of the time you're not, right? And it's like, well, you want to be most of the time happy. And then when times gets a little bit more tough, guess what happens? You're like, I know I could get back into it. Right? And that's a very attractive mindset too, right? Imagine be around someone that's like, damn, I just had a pretty bad day. And they're expressive about it. They're communicating to you about, things didn't go the way I wanted, this happened, but those are things that could all be replaced. I get it. Things happen, but the more important thing is now being grateful to where you're being grateful for being alive. Okay. Like that's huge. Being grateful that you could just get up in the morning and just cook yourself breakfast. Whereas there's certain people that can't do that. Right. They're physically physically, and maybe they just can't. Maybe they're locked up and they'd be like, damn, I wish to have some eggs and some bacon right now. But it's not like you could just go down to the kitchen. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things. So be grateful for where you're at today, because not a lot of people could be where you're at. Okay. So be an active participant in your own journey. It is no one else's fault, but to see why you're in this, how you got yourself in this type of situation, right? An example is, say, maybe you got into poor relationships in the past, whether it's friendship or intimate relationships. I know family you can't really control, but these relationships that you got with certain people, right? You're not putting yourself at fault, like, oh my God, I'm at fault for doing this. Maybe you could a little bit, but what you want to do is you're going to find yourself a solution. Like, why did I get into certain situations like this? Why do I keep attracting those certain people into my life? And why do I let them stay? Right? And I know I've used this example a million times, but like, I've gotten with a cheater before, and I'm like, did I not properly vet this person? Did I not see that this person has like this kind of non-loyal type of behavior? Like, what did I miss? And the big thing was, and I'm not saying this for everybody, okay? Big thing was, this person never really had a masculine figure in their life. She never really had a masculine figure. And her mom was not exactly the type of person that when I looked at her, I was like, that's not the type of person that, especially if I'm going to be with her, and the mom's kind of like this showing this type of example. I'm like, so you got it from your mom. Where does she get that from? You know what I mean? But imagine you're in a household that has a father and a mother, and they both love each other. The father is grounded. He communicates. He allows the other person to talk. He doesn't lose his shit, but he won't take your shit neither. So if you start throwing a tantrum, guess what? He's gonna be like, I'm gonna let you finish, and then you're gonna walk away because you're not gonna be talking to me like that. Just imagine something like that, right? Just very grounded, and he's not gonna yell at you, but he's gonna discipline you in a certain way where if you start misbehaving, he's gonna be like, you go get some time to yourself, like go. Or he's gonna be like, I'm not gonna talk to you right now. You know what I mean? So whatever it is, it's like she didn't have that type of masculine energy or presence in her life, and she learned from her parent, her mom. So I was like, damn, like that's certain things. And I'm not saying that, oh, just because she has a mom that was kind of promiscuous, it doesn't mean that she's gonna be like that. But majority of the time, kids, we learn from seeing what our parents do. That's what happens, and it takes a lot of self-healing to get out of that situation. So yeah, could they get better? Absolutely. But what are the chances? And most people, they don't participate in their own rescue. They don't. They're always trying to wait for someone to try to save them, and that's nobody's gonna save you. That's the hard truth. Nobody's gonna save you. But guess what? There's certain people, there's a certain community, kind of like here, that is willing to help you to become better, right? So that you can express yourself and talk about certain things. But the main thing is to be able to talk to the person that is right next to you most of the time, which is your partner, right? Which is the friends that you're around, right? So if you think about it, everything in your life, everything is about attitude, right? Everything starts with your attitude. So hear me out. Reading self-help books, but doing nothing about it, right? You heard me talk about it. It won't. How much good is it gonna serve you? Having a trainer, for example, I have someone, I'm training them, but I'm like, you eat like shit outside, you don't sleep, and you're stressed all the time. Your workouts has been sliced by more than half. And then you see yourself, you step on a scale and you want something different. I was like, do you know how crazy you sound? I told this person straight up. I was like, do you know how crazy you sound? He was like, yeah. I'm like, all right then. So don't put that shit on me, all right? I'm only here to try to help you. But if you're not willing to help yourself, maybe right now it's not a good time. Maybe you need to back away from me a little bit, because some of your energy is starting to rub off onto me and I ain't feeling it. Okay, I'm not feeling it. I get it. Money's nice. But if all this, figure it out. I'm not saying that I'm not willing to help you, but sometimes you just got to let them be. Sometimes you just got to let them hit the wall, metaphorically or physically. Just walk into a pole or something. I don't care. Right. And then realize and be like, oh shit, this could help. Right. So there's different type of people. Right. So, but it's still seeing me twice a week. It's still better than doing nothing. Okay. Going to therapy, but going back to your regular patterns outside of therapy. Well, how good is that? So that you could be in therapy and tell them about all these things, but then you can always judge a person by the action. Okay. I've seen a lot of people that talk about therapy. They're like, I'm going to therapy. I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this for myself. Great. Absolutely. That's good that you're expressing yourself, especially men. They're like, yeah, I'm going to therapy. I'm talking and this is what happened. And I'm like, good for you. Then they go back out and they act like a fool. I'm like, I thought you went to therapy. Like, what kind? Who you talking to? Your homie? Or like, what kind of therapy is this? I gotta start questioning it. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Either it's not working or they're not qualified. One of the option, or yeah, something's not right. Right? How much you paying? How much are you paying for this therapy? You know? Yeah, I make a joke about anything, all right? But it's for their own good. It's for their own good. So how much are you really improving? Probably not as much as you would like to be, right? So you have to participate in your own rescue. So if you really want something, you have to do it while you're getting help, whether it's professional or maybe you're talking to a homie, or maybe you're doing it on your own. Sometimes, hey, if you got enough resilience and you got enough motivation, guess what? You're going to do it regardless, right? Like right now, I told my homies, I was like, I'm not drinking right now. I'm not drinking, okay? Maybe New Year's Eve, okay, which is only like 8 days. 8 days from now. But I was like, I want to cut it out for at least the next few weeks or first few weeks. So I have 8 more days until I could, touch alcohol, okay? But before that, I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay true to what I'm gonna do. None of y'all you're gonna force me to eat nothing that I don't want to eat. And I don't care if you make fun of me for eating vegetables, all right? Go eat your fucking broccoli. Go eat your vegetables, all right? Who's gonna be laughing when you can't take a shit, when you don't have enough fiber in your body, all right? You're gonna be thinking about me when you're taking a shit, okay? You'd be like, damn, Mitchell's probably having the best shit of his life because he had all those fucking vegetables when all we ate was meat and fat and drink a lot of alcohol, okay? Mitchell went off on a tangent, but I hope that happens to you, okay? Let them hit the wall sometimes, all right? Or stay stuck in the toilet, literally. So you have to want to heal, and you have to believe that it can happen. That's the magic. That's where the magic happens, okay? You have to want to heal. And you have to believe that it could happen, right? And here's another thing that we have a lot of barriers, which is saying things like, oh, it could be much worse than this. I know a lot of people that have it worse than I do, or other people saying things like, oh, you don't have it worse than me or the other person, or oh, if you think your situation bad, you should probably look at Becky's situation. Look at Becky's over there. She just lost this, lost that. Right? Now, problems are problems no matter the magnitude. Okay? This is your journey to self-healing, self-discovery. Okay? Disregarding your feelings pushes you further away from the healing process. So saying things like that as an example, it doesn't serve you any good, right? And don't compare, don't let others disregard your feelings, because this is your journey. Everyone's different. Some lessons may take a little bit longer for other people to heal, okay? And that happens. But eventually you will get there, okay? If you work hard enough at it and you stay consistent enough. So, and that's the beauty of it, right? Everyone takes their own time. But here's that one quote. I think it was Jim Rohn that said it. Success is never crowded along the extra mile. It's just most people give up before they get there, right? Because when I first listened to type of stuff like this, I was like, oh, it's not gonna work. And then I judge a person by its cover. I was like, who's this guy and who does he think he is? And like, it's like, what do you really know? Your relationship coach? Oh my God, right? I disregarded that. I totally disregarded that. I was like, now this person is one of my biggest influence for why I'm here today talking to you guys. It's crazy how things work, right? It's like, first it was like, and then I was like, oh, wow, okay. And it's okay to be a little skeptical sometimes. And I'm like that too. I'm like, really? Do you really know what you're talking about? But instead of being so opposing to it, start listening to what they have to say. And if what they say is bogus, well, guess what? You get to disregard it. And you'd be like, well, I learned something new. I learned that there's a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about. Or you're going to be like, wow, you're one of the few people that actually knows what they're talking about. So, on slide number 4 is you must set and enforce healthy boundaries. I know you heard me say this a lot. My coach Corey Wayne, says it a lot. So a lot of what I'm saying over here are direct quotes from him and other people as well. But I don't know who said this, but I like to start out with this quote, which is, turn your wounds into wisdom. Turn your wounds into wisdom. And then you could be that person that starts educating other people when you have these type of wounds, because then they could relate to you. So set and enforcing healthy boundaries means that, number one, you have to beware of unsupportive relationships. That's huge. I was in a relationship before and it was nothing supportive. And it was all about what this person thought this should be. And I was like, no, I'm not happy. I'm not excited. And when I want to do certain things, like, I think you should be excited for me, because it's something that I love. I don't care if it's something as simple as Pokemon cards or maybe going to see one of my inspirations. Like, I feel like there's more to that than to just work your entire life just so that you can buy a house, so that you can live in it miserably. I don't want to do that. I want to live in I much rather have a much smaller place, renting, and be happy up here, and then everything else can happen later. I don't mind that. Maybe we just didn't align, and that's why we're not together today. Okay, and that's okay, because I learned a lot, and I hope she learned a lot too, right? And if she didn't, maybe one day, hopefully one day, you know what I mean? It's like everything starts coming from a loving place, right? And that's when you start feeling like, damn, like you're starting to understand things a little bit better. So you turn your wounds into wisdom, and you be aware of unsupportive relationship, self-destructive behaviors. Maybe you're drinking, maybe you're partying way too much, and you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing while you're partying, right? And also behaviors such as blaming or shaming yourself and not really taking care of yourself, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I like to have a good time, right? I like having a good time. Sometimes I like to go out and drink, and sometimes I'm like, maybe going to a club might be kind of fun, because Mitchell, you're in your mid-30s, you're an old ass dude at the club, okay? You're an old ass dude at the club. I don't go there often. I think I might have went once. Did I even go once this year? I don't even think I went this year. But maybe once or twice a year. Why not? Why not have a little bit of fun? Let's have a good time, right? But it doesn't happen all the time. So it's okay to have a good time. It's just be careful of having a good time all the time in that type of situation, in that type of environment, right? Same thing. I love eating hot Cheetos. I don't eat a bag a day, okay? I don't eat a bag a day. I would love to if it has a lot of health benefits, but it doesn't. So you must set boundaries, and most people, including yourself, might not be comfortable with you changing, okay? Most people, including yourself, might not be comfortable with you changing. Okay, hear me out. This shit is fucking huge. Okay, because it might become an inconvenience for them. Oh, you're not the same person anymore. I remember when I was in this journey of self-discovery, self-healing, that when I started saying no, I'm like, no, I don't really have the time. I don't have the time, but I could help you tomorrow. Right now, I can't help you. I'm busy. And this person was unreluctant, started bringing up the past. This is how much I've done for you. You should do it for me right now. And I was like, I would love to, but I'm not able to right now. Right now is not a good time. I'm letting you know. And if you're going to continue to bombard me and say these type of things, then I'm going to take back that offer for what I offered the next day, because I became an inconvenience. And then also because I'm changing, I'm moving myself forward. They don't want to see me become better than they are. And the reason why is because when I become better, or when someone close to them starts becoming better, it becomes a reflection to what they're not. And when I'm a reflection to them, or not me, but you in this example, I'm the reflection. They don't like that because they're stuck. And them being stuck has nothing to do with me, because I got a part of this journey. You were making fun of me for me becoming this person that no longer serves you in this type of convenient way that where I used to be. So you got to set and enforce healthy boundaries, and you got to let them know. And if you continue to violate my boundaries, I'm going to give you the gift of missing me, which is you no longer get to talk to me anymore. So please don't let it push there. And I'm not using this as a threat. I'm just doing this to protect myself and respect myself. So please don't push me to that limit, because I have no problem cutting you off, basically. Right? And some people really test that limit. And they did. And when they test that limit enough, I'm like, yo, I hope you have a good life. Because I'm going to have a good life on my own, with or without you. So peace out. Take care of yourself. All right. Wish you the best. And yeah, so that's setting and enforcing healthy boundaries, right? So like I said, most people, including yourself, might not be comfortable with this change, but it takes a little bit out of your comfort zone to get a certain change in your life, right? So like I said, learn to be a good listener, learn to be a good talker, right? Both rich people, I'm not talking about rich as in monetary value. I'm talking about rich in your mind, right? Not just wealth, but rich people and poor people, they both talk. It's just that rich people learn to talk better, and rich people they learn to listen a little bit better. And that's how it's because they understand what other people need. And if you're willing to give them what they need, other people is going to give you way more than what you really need. You're going to be overwhelmed. It's crazy. It's really crazy how things work. So pain is life's way of telling us what we're doing or how we're currently living our life is not working. And we need to make a change. Coach Corey Wayne. And this is from Jim Rohn. We all love to help people who first of all try to help themselves. You ever tried to help somebody that does not want to be helped? Oh my God, it's like talking to a wall, right? Ever been in a relationship where the other person just doesn't want to listen? And I'm not talking about just intimate relationship. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your good friend or whatever that wants help, that does not want help. So when that does happen, you'd be like, hey, would you like me to listen? I'm down to listen to what you got to say. We all love to help people, but first of all, try to help themselves, right? But if you just want to call me and be like, hey, Mitchell, I just need to talk to you for a second. Yeah, for sure. Like, what's going on? I have X amount of time. I got you. What's going on? Let me know what I can help you with. And I'll listen. I won't give advice. I'll just listen. But if you want my opinion about certain things, sure, I'll offer it. But if you come at me all the time and you're just like, hey, I need to talk. But I see that you do nothing about it, and not just that you're only regressing, but you're only doing things that I think that you shouldn't be doing. Like maybe you should put down that bottle. I get that you want to escape from your own feelings right now, but holding on to that bottle a little bit too long might not be too good for your health. Like there's certain ways to approach this, and and if you don't want that, there's other people that's willing to help you. But I might not be the person to help you out of this situation because you're unwilling to listen, right? So anyways, we all love to help people who first of all try to help themselves. And you need to, and this is what Jim Rohn said, you need to develop the muscle and develop the discipline. So the muscle and the discipline, because there might become a day when there's no one else to ask. So you need the rhythm of learning, trying, if you could do it first, to build the mental and emotional muscle. And guess what? That's where competence comes in. And that's in the result of confidence. But the other side of the coin reads, which is by Coach Corey Wayne, sometimes you just have to sit back and watch people you know or care about, quote unquote, hit the wall, metaphorically or physically. Not too hard though, all right? Unless someone is willing to admit their thinking or approach is flawed, you should not waste your time trying to help them, since they are unwilling to help themselves. And that's huge, because even being as a coach, people come to me and sometimes I respect that. I'm like, hey, you don't want any advice, you just want me to listen. I got you. But let me know too, because me being me, I tend to like to offer help. That's just how I communicate. But if you don't want that, let me know, so that I won't, so that I understand what you want too, right? Don't expect me to read your mind, because when people come and talk to me, usually they come and ask me for my advice. So if you don't want my advice, absolutely, I got that too, okay? So with that being said, that is the slides that I had today. So I'm going to be going over the summary, which is the 4 slides. First slide was being self-discovery is not wait, hold on, did I mess this up? I did. Oh, I did. So discovering how you got to where you're at today. Okay, that was the first one. I wish I could help this person for these advice, but I don't talk to her anymore, because these are all great. Are we talking about the same person, by the way? So discovering how you got to where you're at today, right? It's while the conflict may not be your fault, it is your responsibility to be a part of that solution. And blame is about who caused the situation. Responsibility is on the hook for the solution, or who's on the hook for the solution. And self-discovery is not linear. So you'll have good days and you'll have some bad days, and some are worst. The goal is not to constantly feel better 100% of the time. The goal is more about when you do feel a little bit down, you come back a little bit higher and quicker every single time. That's your goal, right? Because at the end of the day, we're still human, okay? And you must be you must participate in your own healing. You must be an active participant, meaning the other person can't do it for you. Everything starts with attitude. Saying things like, oh, it could be much worse, is disregarding your feelings, and it pushes you further away from the healing process. And you got to set and enforce healthy boundaries, right? Be aware of unsupportive relationships, self-destructive behaviors such as blaming, shaming yourself, and not really taking care of yourself. And when you are going to take care of yourself, take yourself serious. Take yourself seriously. Everything that you do, take yourself seriously, right? So if you want, and I'm not saying like, oh, if you want to work out one day, serious and intensity are interchangeable, but it's not the same, right? It's kind of like, oh, I want to go all into self-help and I'm just going to do it. Like, maybe you should pace yourself for a little bit, right? The same thing goes for going into the gym. You know what I did during the whole pandemic when I did not go to the gym? I for real only did this, okay? I started going to the gym when the gyms finally opened. Crazy how that's like 3 to 4 years ago, right? Anyways, when it finally opened up, I started going back to the gym. But I was not physically there. I was out of shape, out of breath, out of my mind, all right? I was like, holy shit. I know this is a great place for me. I've been here before. I just need some time. So guess what I did? All I did was, when I went in, I didn't work out. I was just there for the environment, because I was stuck at home. All right. And I was there for an environment, but I was also there because I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna foam roll and I'm gonna start stretching. I'm gonna get some mobility back because I don't want to get back into the gym and get hurt. So I went like that for the first few days. I took it very, very light. I foam rolled, I listened to music, and I was stretching because there's a routine that I like to use for my stretching, and that has helped me a lot. Me being 30 something, I'm not saying that I'm the most flexible, but I could move pretty well in my opinion. I'm not Olympic, all right, but I think I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing okay for myself, right? And me being able to, always talk about make sure your hips working. Hips are important, especially as a dude. The older you get, you want to make sure that those are functional, right? Every part of your joints, okay, where I don't have pain. That to me is a lot of wealth. It's a lot of health in there, right? So first few days, foam rolled. Environment. That's all it was. And sometimes that's all you need to mentally get ready, right? Build that discipline, build that mental muscle so that you're just like, okay, this is what going to the gym feels like. I wonder how it feels like when I start lifting weights. And then start very light, right? It doesn't have to be cold turkey, right? Don't do that because you're going to hate yourself, because I've done it before. And that's where this whole yo-yo diet kind of happens, right? I've seen someone 3-4 times gain 100 pounds, lost 100 pounds. I'm like, damn, that's impressive. Gain 100 pounds, lost 100 pounds. I was like, that's happened twice. Gain 100 pounds, lost 100 pounds. I'm like, what's going on? Do you good? And it happened again. I was like, maybe your approach isn't working. Maybe you just got to tweak your mindset a little bit. Like, where do you want to be? Do you just want to look good for like 2 months before you start giving up? I mean, that's impressive. Like, I can't do that personally. I usually fluctuate between gaining 10 to maybe 15. 20 is my limit. And then I cut it back, right? It doesn't get worse than, damn, Mitchell, like you really let go of yourself, right? Me personally, I can't do that, right? Some people, they can. I just have certain standards. So set higher standards for yourself. And that's what it is. That's really ultimately what it is. And, people say like, hey, Mitchell, I think that's a little bit too harsh. Yeah, talking in the hundreds. Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, I don't think your skin's going to like it very much. I get it. Your skin's elastic, but I mean, there comes a certain point where it gives up. You know what I mean? It's like, it stretches, it loses, it stretches. I'm like, this skin's going to be, I'm just going to stay like this because I know you're going to get back here anyway. So fuck it. Okay, that's fucked up. But you know what I mean, right? Like, so set higher standards for yourself. And, to certain people, they be like, damn, Mitchell, I think your standards are a little bit too high. I'm like, no, that's for myself. I don't think that's high at all. If anything, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Right? So I was like, hey, by all means, like, I just have certain standards for myself and I want to become better. And this is my only way of keeping myself on check. So I'm going to be like this until the day I die. Okay? I'm going to be like this. I might gain an extra 10 to 20 pounds, but you won't see me get past that. And if I do, okay, I need you guys to be like, what the fuck, Mitchell? What is going on? Say the meanest things, okay? Put a little race in there too, right? Put a little, with the C word. You can be like, what the hell's going on? Because we all need a little bit of laughter, and then everyone's a little bit too soft nowadays. Everything is a little bit more fun when there's a race involved, right? I forgot. Was it Bill Burr that said it? Yeah, it was Bill Burr. I just can't replicate what he said, but he said something like, okay, yeah, okay. It was, let me see if I can do this. He said black people know how to say it the best, right? Because they like to say, I think they say the race before the adjective, and that's how it makes them sound less racist, right? And then I think he said, like, this is what black people say. It's like this this Asian motherfucker came in, blah 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 blah, right? It's like, all right, what happened? What happened to this Asian motherfucker that walked in and did X, Y, and Z, right? Or this white motherfucker that came in and did X, Y, and Z. But then other races go, I think it was he's talking about white people. He said this fucking white person came in and it's like, whoa, hold up, what the fuck happened, right? But I didn't think about that until he explained it. I was like, holy shit, all you have to do is put the race in front, so you're not as racist. So it's like learning how to use words, right? Rich people and poor people talk the same way. It's just certain people, rich people learn how to talk a little bit better, okay? And here's a life tip for you, okay? If you're ever gonna use a race, use it before, okay? Use it before that adjective. Is it adjective? Asian motherfucker, white motherfucker, black. Yeah. Use that before, okay? Use it before, because if you use it after, you just sound like a complete racist, okay? So, hopefully that was informative. If there's anything that you learned from this, please just don't take that, okay? I spent a lot of time working on these slides, so you just watched. It may not be your fault, but it's a part of your journey, all right? So, I mean, go at it, have some fun with it. There's gonna be ups and downs. It's not linear, right? But in the whole process, there's no one destination, and everyone works at their own pace. So don't feel like you're behind because you're not as ahead, because there's another quote, which is comparison being a theft of joy. You don't get to enjoy this process, right? The best thing about it is the process. It's like, damn, I get to learn, right? Now I learned something. There's certain things that I can't explain yet. But when I can, guess what? Mitchell's going to come back on this mic and let y'all know. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Write something down in a comment below of what you're going to be focusing on this week, so that you take yourself a little bit more serious, so that I know too. All right. Thank you all. I'll catch you all in the next slide. All right. Peace.